You know what nobody tells you before you become a manager or a leader? That leading a team, even leading your clients, sometimes feels like parenting kids, except these ones have deadlines and invoices.
I'm laughing on the inside because it's true. Or not laughing on the outside. But at least your kids call you mom, hopefully. And your team just slacks you emojis when you're trying to solve a crisis. I feel like we've talked about this in some capacity on various episodes because I can't talk about soft skills without including a real life example of how I implement it with my children or with my husband for that matter, because these are transferable skills. And if you can lead a team or manage a family, you're probably built to lead a team.
Exactly. And that's what we're talking about today. We're diving into the messy and rewarding and sometimes awkward moments of not just being a business owner, but actually like managing behind the scenes, managing your team, managing your clients. So this episode's going to be for you.
Because if you've been following along the journey at all, or you're new here, we are not afraid to share that we've made the mistakes, learned the lessons, and figured out how to lead without losing our minds. Today, we're giving advice for first time managers or business owners, the kind of advice we wish someone had told us before we took our first leadership role.
Yeah, and let's be honest, that moment that you start managing others, everything changes. I mean, I know especially with having a family and having kids, obviously when you become a first-time parent, you have no idea what you're doing. So that's just the same thing. It's not just it is. It's not just about doing the work that you're doing by yourself. Now it's about leading other people through the work.
And that's probably the biggest shift that I at least want to get across to anyone tuning in is going from being the doer to being the leader. Because when you're used to being hands on, you think managing means just teaching others to do what you do. But in reality, it's so much deeper than that. It's about trusting the process, delegating, and learning to let go of control, which a lot of us as business owners struggle with is letting go. Honestly, even last year, I remember each assistant that I've ever worked with, I spent more time rewriting their work than it would have taken me to just do it myself. And that's because I just couldn't trust the process and let it go into their hands completely.
This reminds me so much of when I used to be like I was in a management manager role in like retail, and I was so used to being like the associate and like doing the things, making sure that things were getting done. And when we had somebody come on, I was told, "Don't do that anymore. Give that to somebody else." I'm like, "What does that even mean? Like I want to do things." We have to again like it's hard to let go because we think that nobody can do it quite like us, but leadership requires you to step back and empower others to figure it out in their own way. And yes, it can be scary at first. Just like when I first allowed my kid to make their own sandwich for the first time, I was like, "Do you need help? Do you need help?" And I used to like hover over him. I'm like, "Okay, I'm right here if you need help." But then I quickly realized that was probably stressing him out, like, "Why is she hovering over me?" Just like when we talk about micromanagement, it's the same thing. You have to learn how to let go, and you taught somebody something, so let them do it, because if not, then you're gonna be stuck in a spot you probably don't wanna be in.
And I feel like that's like we are talking about with kids and having families, like you're managing humans, not robots, not many chat GPTs in real, like these are people. And each person has their own learning style, communication preferences, and motivations. So, yes, it's great to have set clear expectations, give them the tools, and then trust the process. And you can map out that process in an SOP, but each person is going to understand it in a different way. Sarah and I both, as an example, she loves Asana And I don't. That is not how I manage projects. And we've tried, it doesn't work. We both know the SOP and how we want to prep, brainstorm topic ideas. We know the process. Like we have a set standard for how we record, break each episode down into content for social media, content for Pinterest, going onto our newsletter. Like we have those mapped out. But Sarah has to use this project management tool, and I am a Google spreadsheet. Both get the job done. Both are getting done according to the SOP in the process, but different.
No, no, for
and
sure.
and we are trusting the process that each of us knows to get the job done in our own way, and we're still going to get to the same part. So that's where like systems comes into place that makes delegation easier. I know that Sarah's going to get her parts done through the what we've delegated because of the system that she has set up, and we both went over the SOP together. And Sarah, hopefully, trusts that I'm going to get my stuff done in a timely manner, not in a chaotic way, because we do have the systems in place and then we manage them independently and come together once a week to make sure things are getting completed, going over the hurdles, and anything else that comes up.
Yeah, for sure. I honestly believe that's a common misconception, honestly, when it comes to managing people. It's like, yes, you could, creating those systems because I've been in many positions in my career and it's all like, well, that's not how you do it. Well, the end result's the same. It shouldn't matter. Like I've written so many SOPs for my clients that I don't even follow the exact step by step anymore. I'm like, I know how it's done. I know as long as it's that end result, it shouldn't matter the steps. Everybody, again, is learning the different way. So let's talk about what are some of the biggest mistakes we made early on as managers. I know for me, it was not letting go the control, going back to it's my way or it's not the right way, which honestly is not the right way to go because you have people on your team for a reason. Let go, trust those people. Yes, it's going to take some time, but you can't assume they're going to do, not do good. Like you need the help. That's why you have people, you have a co host, you have your partner, you have somebody on your team. Just let it go.
I think that's something else. Like, remember, you'd hired them, which means they passed the test, the initial test of showing you that they can do the work. So now give them a chance to actually doing it. I think that leads well into another mistake is avoiding hard conversations, which we recently had an episode on this. So if you missed it, go back and listen. But I know myself, I used to think I was being nice, whether to myself or to my team at the time, or even to like my spouse, by not addressing issues right away. But in reality, it's avoiding discomfort. I was uncomfortable having certain conversations, but that silence will create confusion. Feedback, when done correctly, builds trust and it helps your team grow and it helps you grow as a leader and more seamlessly step into that role.
And let's add one more mistake, trying to be everyone's friend. I've seen this happen. Like before I became an entrepreneur, I thought everybody in the office should be friends. Like no, it's not the case. You can have great relationships with your team, but at the end of the day, you're still a leader and you need to set those boundaries. Boundaries are like love and leadership form. Like there's certain aspects when it comes to managing and leading a team because if you want to become friends with everybody, then the boundaries are going to get crossed. Lines are going to be blurred and nobody knows what they're going to be doing.
I feel like that's another thing that we can put on a t-shirt. So let's talk about what leading from boundaries, because that's perfection. Let's talk about what good leadership actually looks like. So for me, maintaining those boundaries, it was leading from with empathy and accountability. So you can be kind and understanding, but still hold people to high standards. It's not an either or thing, it's a balance of both. So I understand that my team or my kids are going to have challenges, but I also want them to grow up to be rock star human beings and keeping everyone on my team with an aligned vision. So that means I'm going to empathize, but then I'm going to work with you to come up with a game plan so that we still meet our goals and I'm holding you accountable. Like you're not getting a pass per se. You might get some grace, but you're still being held accountable for the things that you were tasked for.
And that's the goal, right? Like, this is why I personally always say, like, I'm on this mission to humanize the workplace because we are all people. I want to lead people first, and I want to make sure that whomever is in my space is treated as a human. Yes, everybody's going to make mistakes. We do learn from them, have those conversations, lead with empathy and compassion because everybody comes from a different walk of life. Nobody's going to be in the same position as you are, and still that trust in the people that you have. And then if for some reason something is not the way that it should be, have those conversations and going back into like the accountability. Like we have to get uncomfortable, so to speak. Like yeah, sometimes it's going to suck, but if you don't, again, going back to the micromanaging, the criticism that, that's not constructive at all, no feedback, like we gotta do better.
I feel like we should have a confession moment for both of us. What's one thing you've, on self reflection, feel like you totally messed up as a first time manager or when you first were a business owner and had your first hire?
Oh, that's such a great question. I mean, I could think back to like so many things.
Only
um
one. You can only pick one.
okay, so this has nothing to do with my business, but this is my being a first time manager and a job that I had once, having to fire somebody, and I had no idea what I was doing. My higher up told me to go fire somebody. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm trying to like, how do I word it? And I literally like the person came in, I'm like, we're letting you go. Bye. Like, I was never taught. I didn't know. And I'm like, thinking back to that, I should have like had an actual conversation with this person. And I was told that I need to learn how to fire. And thinking back, I'm like, no, no, that's not how you should do that. Not at all.
For me, it was over promising to literally every client request. This was when I was a solopreneur. So technically I didn't have a team. But that stress definitely passed over to my family because I was not protecting my own bandwidth as a business owner and as at the time, a virtual assistant. Boundaries again needed to be one, created and maintained and protected. I have definitely learned over the years that leadership is not about doing more, but about creating space for myself and now my team, including my family, to thrive. So, for anyone that is stepping into a management or launching their business for the first time, that is probably the biggest key that you need to remember is you do not need to have it all figured out. What you do need is to be willing to learn, listen, and lead with intention. That will speak volumes for yourself as well as your team.
Exactly. You got to start small and building those systems and communicating clearly. And don't be afraid to admit when you're learning. If you're not creating those boundaries, I know we talk about this so much on all of our episodes, you will burn yourself to the ground if you are not setting boundaries. And I think that's really important to have so that you can take everything farther than you think. You don't have to say yes to everything. Baby steps, take your time. And if you have questions, reach out to somebody or just go outside, touch grass.
Outside. Touch grass.
It's so funny because we get so wrapped up in all our work and we're saying yes to everything. And then we're burning out and we haven't seen outside in like days because we're glued to our computer and we want to please everybody. But if you are doing that, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're not going to be in a space that you want to be in.
Absolutely. I think as you transition into being a leader and a manager, and you find yourself getting overwhelmed and touching grass is not enough, and you're ready to build a team that actually supports your business growth, then we here at Entrepreneur Encounter definitely have you covered. Whether you're looking to grow your visibility through Pinterest marketing or streamline your podcast operations and team management, we help business owners and creatives build sustainable systems that work for them and not against them. And that means you get to more easily step into that leadership role. We get to help you manage, encourage, and motivate your team, as well as set up systems, sustainable systems to keep your business visible. So links for all of the details are in the show notes. And until next time. Thanks for spending time with us today. If something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective, share it with a friend or send us a DM. We love hearing how these conversations land with you.
And if you're curious about how soft skills can support your next season of growth, we each have more resources to share.
You can find Dana on Instagram at danas.desk.nc for Pinterest strategy and intentional marketing.
And Sarah at URembert for team development, business leadership, and podcast support.
Until next time, keep leading with purpose
and growing with intention.